My 15-1-12 term project, I decided to do Stitch Sandwich Stacker game. And so the point of this game is basically to move the character left and right along the screen and continuously stack condiments that fall from above. So the higher the sandwich, the greater the amount of points that you'll get at the end. And you basically just move through all of the levels trying to stack good condiments and trying to avoid bad condiments. So this is the home screen, which basically just has two options, which are how to play and play. So this is the instructions page, and it'll take you to a page that shows you basically how to play, outlining the basic rules and information about the levels and how they get progressively more difficult. And so basically there's also a key here that basically shows you which are the good items, which are the ones you want to basically stack on the sandwich, and then which are the bad or rotten items, which are the ones you want to avoid, because having them fall in the sandwich would result in the loss of one life. And essentially there are 3 lives within this game, and if you lose all 3, then the game is over. So basically, there's 3 levels to this game, and each level gets progressively harder. So before we start playing, I'm just going to explain a little bit about how the 3 levels work. So the first level is the easiest level, and what essentially happens in the first level is that condiments fall at a velocity that's relatively slow compared to the next 2 levels. And condiments are randomly generated, so the ones that fall are random, and the frequency with which they fall is randomly generated, and essentially you have all of the condiments falling at the same speed. So something a little bit different about the first level is that there's 2 types of bread that will fall. One of the types of bread will be like a rotating piece of bread, which will essentially complete the sandwich, and the other type is a non-rotating piece of bread that will just fall straight down, and that non-rotating bread is kind of known as the safety bread, which will essentially be more, that bread kind of falls more frequently than the rotating piece, which is randomly generated. So if you collect in the first level of the bread, the falling piece of bread that is the non-rotating one will count for 0 points because it's more frequent and it's easier to get. So if you have just 2 pieces of bread together and nothing inside, you won't get many points. You'll get 0 points. And then kind of what happens is in the second level, the speed at which the objects falls increases for all of them. And in addition to that, there's a greater frequency of bad falling condiments, and there are more bad falling condiments, and there are 2 speeds at which they fall. And the third level is basically the hardest level and the last level, and what happens in that is that all of them fall faster, all of the condiments, and you basically have rotten items falling a lot faster at like rapid speeds, and you'll also have the addition of bombs. And what happens with bombs is that you will if they touch the sandwich, they will blow up, and then the game will be automatically over. So there are essentially 2 modes of play to this game. And one mode is just you move through the levels, just creating sandwiches and stacking them to get a higher score. And the other mode of play is basically where you can kind of create your own custom-made order. So that's what this button shows, which is create sandwich. And essentially, if you click here, you'll basically see that there's the list of condiments, and you basically just choose which condiments you want. And then what happens is your goal of the game is to make that exact sandwich. So if I select the cheese and the bacon, then that means that I'm trying to make that sandwich as I play the game. So I move through all the levels trying to create that sandwich, but if I don't manage to, then I just keep moving through the game. So let's see, if I can create this, then the game will end there and I'll have the opportunity to play again because I would have completed. If not, I just move through all the levels as if I wasn't playing in this mode anyway. So if you click play, it directly takes you to level 1, and as you can see, use your left and right arrows to move the character across. So if I'm not trying to make the order sandwich that I want, I will collect a bread, and as you saw, there were 0 points because there was nothing between the breads. So now here I can collect the condiments, and essentially they will flatten, and I just keep stacking and waiting for bread to fall. So it's very self-explanatory, very easy, and you essentially just keep moving, and as you can see, the score increments. And what happens is these bad condiments, if they fall, you're going to see this, which will show the loss of a life, and that it's clear that there are 3 lives, and if you lose all 3, then you don't progress to the last level. So you essentially just keep avoiding the bad condiments, and as you can see, some of them are falling a little bit faster, and then the normal ones are falling, and it's all randomly generated in this sense, but there are more bad condiments falling, as you can see. And so if it hits, you'll see that. And here we have the piece of bread. So now you'll see you get points and you move on to the last level. And as you can see with the last level, there's far more bad condiments falling. They fall at faster rates. And there's the addition of bombs, which you saw. So a bomb, if it hits, it'll blow up and it'll go the game over screen. So this is pretty self-explanatory as well. You basically will click play again if you want to play again. And it'll take you back to level 1 starting from the start. So the pause button is basically just a pause button, and then you just click play, get back to level 1, and you essentially can quit. And if you quit, it basically refreshes the entire thing and starts over and allows you to continue stacking. So as you can see, what happens is in level 2, there's no help or pause button. So with the help or pause button, so in level 2, there's not the option to be able to quit. So you can't refresh the screen, you just have to continue. And then you can still pause the game, and then you'll continue back from where you were, but you essentially cannot do anything else. So once you're kind of in level 2, you're kind of there. And then if I just complete this sandwich, you'll see that in level 3 there's actually no buttons at all, because this is the hardest level, and as a result you kind of just have to go through the level without pausing or going to any other screen. So that's the basic functioning of this game. It's a pretty straightforward game to play, and that's it. Thank you so much for watching.